Well, hello, everyone. This is Dr. Nick, your favorite personal growth coach, and we are here on another Wednesday of Adulting in My Purpose. And you all know that I love these sessions with you as we talk about everything adulting each Wednesday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And this Adulting in My Purpose is for our millennials. So if you are watching for the first time, let me know. Put your name in the chat, say hello. Don't be a stranger. Make sure you make sure you share, because we have a great guest today that's going to give you some more jewels and more nuggets to help you effectively live your life as an adult. So for those that may be watching for tuning in for the first time, I always give an official introduction. So I am Dr. Nicole Rankin. I'm the CEO of the Cole Academy of Personal Growth, and we're a training and development company. And we work with young leaders, helping them to develop the soft skills and the social emotional learning skills that they need, the leadership development, personal growth skills, and communication skills that they are critically needed for success, both professionally and personally. So that is what I do. And, adulting in my purpose came about after my passion and love for mentoring young leaders and that are millennials, and helping millennials get unstuck. A lot of you are in a position where you're working towards adulthood, trying to manage this whole adulting thing, and it's hard. You need guidance. So that is what the mission of Adulting in My Purpose is to help you give you the tools and strategies that you need to be successful in today's world. So we have been having a great time with these sessions, and we started some new segments. We started Millennials Making Move, and we've had some tremendous, amazing young leaders, young millennials who are out there in the world doing their thing, truly adulting in my purpose. Last week, we had Christopher Haley. So he is a shipyard worker by day, but a supermodel by night. So if you missed that interview, it was phenomenal. So go back, catch the replay. He truly gave some great nuggets and tips and bits of inspiration just on his journey. And that's something that can help you. And then we also started our Ask Our Expert, where we're bringing in great subject matter experts in various fields. And today is no other that we have another amazing expert that is going to give you and share with you some amazing tips and strategies, because tonight we're talking about adulting in your own home. So how many millennials we have out there that are thinking about home ownership, looking at a home, just trying to figure out, when do I do it? How do I do it? What do I do? So this is why we have one other than LaShana Middleton. And I can read her bio, but most of all, that I met LaShana maybe, I think, about 3 years ago now, maybe even more. And we just click. When kindred spirits come together, we know that it's purposeful. And we have some people raising their hand that said they're looking to buy a home, so they're getting ready. So you are in the right place. So LaShana Middleton, better known as Shana, I call her the real estate broker extraordinaire, because she has a passion for truly helping people get into their first time home. I've watched her over the years with her business and business development, and watched months after months, weeks after weeks, closing people for their first time as a home buyer. And it's just amazing just to see her passion, to see her business grow, and just the love that she has for home ownership. She's a native of Dublin, Georgia, and she moved to Atlanta. She's a mother, a wife, a mentor, a sister, and just a truly amazing heart of gold. So I am going to welcome Miss LaShana Middleton to Adulting in My Purpose, because she is our Ask the Expert person today. Hello, welcome.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great. Good to see you. Welcome
Great.
to Adulting in My
You.
Purpose.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for having me. It's a joy to be here and be in this space with you and share this space with you.
Absolutely. So like I said, I could tell people about your bio, but I want you to share because I want them to hear your heart and hear from you. So, LaShana, tell people how you got to where you are as a real estate broker and just how your career path started and how you got to where you are right today.
Okay, sure. So actually, I'm an accountant by trade. I used to do the budget for two of the major hospitals here in Atlanta. And at the age of 26, my husband and I bought our very first home ourselves. And, as I went through, the whole corporate structure, corporate world, and started having a family, and I just didn't want corporate America anymore. I branched out and I started looking for ways to find um, money freedom and time freedom all in one. I had two small sons and two young sons, and I just wanted to be a mom. So I branched out into real estate, thinking that I could find what I was needing in that arena, and I did. It was great. I started out as an investor, not necessarily knowing anything about real estate outside of, like I said, the one home that my husband and I had bought together. But what I found was that even at that, was we bought a house, but we didn't quite know how we got to the closing table. I mean, we were really young. Like I said, I was 26 when we bought our first home, and um, I just kept going on into investing, and I got an opportunity, years later to go to on a missions trip to the Dominican Republic, and that's where I really found my purpose and my passion. Um, it was there that I saw the way they were living in the communities, outside of the resort, of course. But being in the communities where it was very very poor communities, and I decided that I would come back to Atlanta and do everything that I could to make as many people as I could homeowners. I was very humbled by the mission trip experience, and that's what really led me into educating homeowners. I've been in the real estate industry now over 20 years. And like I said, at first as an investor, and then as a sales agent, and now a broker and developer. So again, it is my passion to show people what's possible in a world where they absolutely feel like it's impossible where it relates to home ownership. And so that's kind of how things started, and that's how I got to where I am today.
I love it. I love it. I like when you said you would like to show people what is possible when they think it is impossible. So I know home ownership seems like, especially for a young person, home
Hmm.
ownership can seem like a big undertaking. So,
Right.
what is kind of like the number one myth that you see that's keeping young people
Mhm.
from going into that direction and actually purchasing a home?
Well, just with young people and older people alike, they all share the same myths and fears and all of that. It's when and some of the major myths that I see is or that we hear, especially with millennials, is I can't buy a house with student loans. Oh, my student loan debt is through the roof. I'm not going to be able to buy a house. Or I need a 700 credit score to buy a home. Those are probably the two biggest myths that I hear, and it's amazing because, like I said, they are myths. You can buy a home with student loans. You don't need a 700 credit score. And no, that person with a 600 or 620 credit score and that 700 credit score is pretty much going to be the same situation. There's really no different. And the other thing is with those student loans, I mean, yes, you can have the student loans, but it's all about, putting a plan together and executing a plan. And that's just with anything. So the other thing that students don't know or millennials don't know is you can come right out of college, 30 days on a job with a qualifying credit score and purchase a home. And the job does not even have to be in the area of study. And of course you would need those 2 years of work history that most lenders are looking for. But guess what? Those last 2 years of transcripts would suffice for the employment.
Hmm.
Right? So a lot of students slash millennials, our younger generation, they don't know that. Because why don't they know it? Because nobody told them. They just said, okay, well, you need 2 years of work history, and a lot of times they say in your field of study, and that's all myths. And hopefully just that statement alone will help some of you out there to understand that it's closer than you think. It's within your reach. It's just about having someone that cares enough to give you the information and to walk with you through the process.
I love it. I love it. So when you think about, millennials, and they're trying to figure this adulthood out. Sometimes they're coming out of college.
Mhm,
So they leave college and they go back to their parents' home or their
mhm.
home, or they might think of getting an apartment. So what is kind of like the biggest challenge that you see with millennials in them looking for to purchase a home?
Realistic expectations.
Mm, okay.
um, a lot of the millennials, especially here in the Atlanta area, everybody wants to be downtown. They want to be, they want to, that walkability to everything. They want to have everything accessible. And to be, the closer you are to downtown and to the city, the more expensive it is. And sometimes, the income doesn't allow them to be in the city.
Mhm.
Right. So again, the biggest challenge is getting people to understand, okay, listen, I can't be downtown right now. And it's okay, but I have to work up to that. And and just understand that it doesn't have to be the forever home, but it does beat renting.
Mhm.
Whatever it may be, whatever that mortgage looks like, it beats renting. So if we could just get in our minds, okay, I qualify for what I qualify for, and whatever I qualify for just may not allow me to get exactly what I want right now. So let me get what I can get, where I'm going to be safe and comfortable.
Mhm.
And
Right.
that 5 bedroom basement with a basement, or that in town living, you know, you might just have to scale it back some, just a little bit, and get that 3 bedroom, 2 bath until we can do something a little bit different.
Mhm.
But again, that's the biggest thing is, the reality, being realistic about, you know, that first purchase.
I like that because a lot of times, especially with young people, they see a lot of things. We're
Mhm.
in the age of social media. Everything is sensory. So what you see on the platforms, on Instagram, on
Right.
Facebook, it seems appealing, and it's like
Mhm.
it seems like it's in your reach. So I love the fact that you say, you got to understand that it's all a process, and
Right.
there has to be some realistic expectations. So let's talk about, you mentioned a millennial, because with millennials, there's a spectrum. There's, you have your college age, you have your older millennials, and
Hmm.
younger. So, in thinking about money wise, like how much should a person or a millennial, I should say, what they need to save to think about buying a house, or is that
Well,
something you start with?
well, it's first of all, it's always good to save.
Hmm.
Okay, that's for anybody. It's always good to save, but can you save and have a destination? Like, what exactly are you saving? And to answer the question as far as how much should they be saving, um, when it in terms of purchasing a property, it's everything is pretty much it reverts back to what the purchase price is. Okay, the purchase price dictates a lot. So the first thing to do is to get qualified, get with a lender and get that credit pulled, and don't be afraid of a credit pull. Okay, you would need to get your credit pulled so you can see exactly where you stand. So once that lender pulls credit, there's a lot of questions that can be answered just off of that first phase or that first step. Because that once the lender pulls credit, they're going to be able to tell you how much you qualify for. They'll be able to tell you what your credit score is, your true mortgage score. And so, with that being said, once you know how much you qualify for, that also means that you know which loan types you qualify for. Each
Hmm.
loan type has different requirements. So, a lot of people, most people get a FHA loan. Some get conventional, and you also have your USDA and your VA loans. So, and again, they all have different requirements. So, let's say you qualify for an FHA mortgage. Well, the guidelines as it relates to an FHA mortgage says the down payment is 3.5% of whatever the purchase price is, right? So we can't say, okay, well, you need 15,000. You need to save $15,000. Well, if you're buying $100,000 property, it doesn't cost $15,000 to close that property, right? So everything reverts back to whatever that purchase price is. You have your down payment and you have closing costs associated with the loan as well, of which down payment and closing costs are two totally separate numbers, of which you put them together and you bring those funds to the closing table. So for example, you may be getting an FHA loan, $100,000 purchase. You've got a 3.5% down payment. So 3.5% of $100,000 purchase would be $3,500 down payment. And then you'll have closing costs that average somewhere around 3% of the same purchase price. So then you have 3% of that purchase price, which is another $3,000. So when you take the $3,000 closing costs and a $3,500 down payment, $6,500 total, and that's what you would bring to the table. So again, it all goes back to what is your purchase price,
Gotcha.
right?
There's so much intricate details to that,
Detail.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So we had one question, and I think this is a great segue for that, because you mentioned kind of like the first step, and I know you give home ownership seminars, and we're going to talk more
Right.
about that later as
Hmm.
well. But just on a kind of a high level, can you walk us through the general steps for a
Hmm.
young person that's just interested in just don't even know
Hmm.
what it takes to buy a house? Like what are the general steps from beginning to end? And and
Okay.
and also, how long does that take?
Okay. First step, come to my home buyer seminar or
That's right.
attend a virtual seminar.
And we're going to, don't worry guys, we're going to give you that information on her next seminar. She holds a
Feel free.
free home buyer seminar, and we'll give you that information as well.
Right. So that's step one. Step two would be to get with a lender. I do have a lender on my team as well that I work very closely with, and most times he's a part of the seminar as well. So outside of anything, even if you've never come to a seminar, but again, you would want to. The first step would be to contact a lender, and then find yourself a realtor that you trust, one that has a heart for real estate and for people. Um, so the home buying seminar, contact a lender, okay, um, and with that you'll get qualified or not. That next step would be to shop for your home. Once you shop for your home, you want to get it inspected, appraised. You'll go through the underwriting process with the lender, okay, and then closing. That entire process is somewhere about 30 to 35 days. I'm sorry, 30 to 45 days from start to finish.
All right. So you guys, Alex out there, she said, thanks for the clarity. So, you have your steps. Just to recap, guys. So you guys are getting gold. And if you all have questions out there, please definitely put them in the chat so we can see. So the first thing, number one, is to attend one of LaShana's home free home buying seminar. So let's talk about that. So when is your next seminar? So just because
They are monthly, and the next one is November 17th.
Okay, November 17th, guys. So put that on your calendar. And we'll put the link in the comments so you can register. So November 17th, look out for LaShana's doing a home buying seminar. So you'll get more in depth of this information. So she gave you the steps to that home buying process. Go to this seminar, get a lender, shop for a home, get it inspected, get it in praise, do the underwriting process, and get to the closing. But again, it seems simple, but there's so much more intricate details that if you don't know, you need to find out. And we have the resources here for you. So we're excited about that. And thank you, Shana, for sharing that and breaking that down
Sure.
for everyone. Alex says, is it virtual?
Yes.
It is virtual. Yes.
So it doesn't matter where you are in the world.
I love it. I love it. She will help everyone. So we talked about the student loan. So that was a question somebody had asked, if the student loans impact the ability to purchase a home. And you briefly talked about that. So can you just expound on that a little bit more?
Okay. Sure. So student loans are, again, it goes back to the loan type. The way the student loans are factored into your debt to income ratio is, if you are getting an FHA mortgage, then the lender will take 1% of whatever the balance is and factor that number into your debt to income ratio. So it doesn't matter if you're still in school or you're in a forbearance or deferment or anything like that. That part doesn't matter. They're going to still take the 1% and factor that number into your debt to income ratio. Now, in some instances, they will take an amortized payment. And that's the payment that you just call your servicer and say, hey, what will my payment be just over the next 30, 40 years? And then when they give you that number, a lot of times that number is less than the 1%. And sometimes a lot of lenders will take that number and factor it into your debt to income ratio. Now, on the flip side, if you were getting a conventional loan, then if you're, say, for instance, in an IBR, an income-based repayment plan, and that payment is $10 or $20, then that is the number that they would factor into your DTI / debt to income ratio. But again, we're talking about an FHA mortgage versus a conventional mortgage. So let's say you have, excessive student loans, like over $100,000, $200,000 worth of student loans. What most of the time, what I suggest and what my lender and I try to do is get your credit score up as high as possible, above 640, so that you can qualify for a conventional mortgage. And once we're able to get you qualified for a conventional mortgage, then the student loans don't really they matter, but not as bad, not as much as it would with an FHA mortgage.
Okay, understood. And you mentioned another question that came in about credit score.
Hmm.
When thinking about buying home for millennials, a lot of millennials get stuck in when they go into college and run
Hmm.
up those credit cards and get into debt. And now they're coming out of college with some debt. So, what is a
Right.
good credit score that they should shoot for when thinking about purchasing a home?
Um, 620 minimum. Now, what I will say is the minimum credit score requirement is 580, but it's going to cost you a little bit more to close that transaction with anything less than a 620. Okay, like I said, it can be done with the 580. You and on the FHA side, you will still have that 3.5% down payment requirement. However, some lenders will charge points, meaning it could be 1 point, 2 point, 1.5 of that purchase price. So in other words, let's talk numbers sake. So let's say that purchase price again is $100,000. Person A has a 580 credit score, and person B has a 620 credit score. Person B has a 620 credit score. They're only going to need $6,500 to close that loan.
Mhm.
Person A will need a little more than that because they're going to have to pay points. They might have to pay a 1 point. 1% in point is kind of the same thing. So 1% of the sales price is $1,000, right? So where person B with the higher credit score needs 6,500, person A with the lower score is going to need an additional $1,000, which is 7,500. Okay. And then person A with the lower score will also have to show reserves. Reserves is money that a person would need to show that equates to 1 or 2 times of the intended mortgage payment. So let's say on that $100,000 purchase, the mortgage payment we'll just say $800. And if you have to show reserves, you may have to show 2 months of reserves. That's an additional $1,600, simply because your score is less than a 620.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so the ideal score is 620.
Okay. All right, guys. You guys are getting like major goal out there. So I hope for those that are listening that are in even thinking about purchasing a home or had the idea to know that it is possible. You just have to have the right information and have to have the right people in your corner that's going to educate you and guide you to the success and the goals that you need. So when thinking about buying a first home, sometimes there are new homes, sometimes there are, seller homes. Alex said, yes, thank you. So she's thank you for the information. I
You're
think
welcome.
she that
Alex, I
I
think
love
I'll see you at the next seminar.
That's what I was about to say. We gonna see you at the next seminar, Alex. Yes. Um, so there's so many options out there. So what do you recommend for a young person as their first time home buyer? What direction should they go into?
Are you stating it as it relates to new construction or resale?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
So It's a personal preference.
Okay.
One is no different than the other. Um, I always suggest home inspections, whether it's new construction or resale. Either one doesn't matter, because sometimes you get, a new construction and it has issues too.
Okay. Okay.
And then of course your resales, they're just like buying a used car. You know, when you go to an auction, sometimes, a lot of times people take a mechanic with them. Why? So that they can see what's going on with with the car before they drive it out the auction block. Well, it's the same thing with purchasing a home, whether it's resale or a new construction. Get you an inspection so that you know exactly what you're getting. So, in terms of if one is better than the other, no, it's just a personal preference.
Okay. Okay. So
Hmm.
let's talk about the shift. We know that we're going through a pandemic,
Hmm.
and we're seeing the economy fluctuate. So if someone was thinking about, young person was thinking about buying a home, Alex says she wants to buy a home in December if that's possible. So
It is.
how has COVID impact home buying?
I have been in the industry for over 20 years, and this has been my best year yet
Wow.
during the pandemic. Um, it's a great time still to buy, and that's because the interest rates are at an all-time low. Interest rates haven't been this low in 50 years. So, which means that, okay, of course, the lower the interest rate, the more house you can afford or you can qualify for. But on the flip side of that, sellers are is low inventory. The market is really, really hot. Sellers are getting top dollar. Um, and you really have to make decisions when you're out there, putting in offers. If you see something you like, you have to go in, and you have to go in aggressively with your offers. So that's some of the main things that I've seen, since COVID is, one, the low inventory, two, like I said, just making those decisions, with those aggressive offers. I mean, there's a lot of bidding wars out here. Houses are on the market 24 hours. They have 10, 12, 15 offers on one property. So it's not our market. It's not a market where you can go in, ask them, the seller, to pay closing costs and all this stuff, because they don't have to. I mean, but this time last year, you could. Sellers were paying closing costs, and, paying for home warranties, and, all that good stuff. That is, it's not that type of market right now. And the other thing, the biggest thing that I see is the lack of funding for down payment assistance. A lot of times, people get in their heads that, I'm a first time home buyer, I'm supposed to get some type of down payment assistance. And no, just because you're a first time home buyer does not automatically qualify you for down payment assistance. And what I've been experiencing this year is, you know, um, a lack of funding anyway for down payment assistance. And then
Mm,
um the fact that it's two underwrites. When you're working with down payment assistance, you have an underwriting process for the loan, and then you have underwriting for the down payment assistance, which also means that it takes longer to close that transaction. And when the seller knows that you're getting down payment assistance, a lot of times right now they're just going to bypass your offer, because if it's going to take you 60 days to close versus someone that doesn't need down payment assistance, and they can close in 30 days or less. So those are the biggest things that I've seen. But but as far as buyers themselves, and, like I said, the interest rates, this is the opportune time to purchase. And then we hear, okay, well, the prices are so high. Well, it's the same thing, because this time next year, we may be in a situation where the prices are have decreased, but the interest rate
Interest rate.
increased.
Mhm.
So it's
Mhm.
the same, it's kind of the same thing, right?
Okay.
So I would suggest to get in now where the interest rates are low, because and then too, your appreciation, your home values, they're going to go up and up and up. I have one client that bought back in April. She bought a townhome, new construction, $235,000, and that same unit today is 280.
Wow. Since April.
Since April 21st. She closed on April 21st, and today that
Wow.
same unit, if she sold that unit right now, she could sell it for 280. So you're talking about $50,000 worth of equity in 6 months.
Wow.
I
That's
mean,
awesome.
so there's no need to wait. There's
Awesome.
no need to wait.
All right, you heard it. You heard it from the expert right here. If you are thinking about, if you are just even wanting just to get the information, that a lot of times, the word said we perish for a lack of knowledge, and just
Absolutely.
get the knowledge, get the
Mhm.
education, get an understanding of what is possible. Don't count yourself out in the process, because there are people that are knowledgeable, and not only knowledgeable but wanting to help. And that's
Right.
the type of people that I love to bring on the show to help you all in this process of adulting. We
Mhm.
want you to be successful. We want you to have the tools and the strategies that you need to be successful, productive adults. So again, if you're looking at home ownership, now is the time, said Miss LaShana Middleton, the
That's right.
expert.
That's right.
She
Contact me today so we
contact
can
her
partner.
today. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. And so you mentioned, actually, I was going to ask you about the money, if there was money available for first time home buyers. And you actually touched on that
Mhm.
as you were talking about the impact that you're seeing with COVID and the funding just not being available.
Mhm.
So, talk a little bit more about that.
About some resources that you can use
Yeah.
for, okay. So yeah, there are a couple of different resources that you can use to come up with those down payments and closing costs. Like, for instance, if you have a 401k or any type of retirement account, pull from it. It's okay. And you may have heard, someone say, no, don't bother your 401k. It's for retirement. Well, your 401k is an investment vehicle, and the home that you're purchasing is also an investment. So when you take money from your 401k, it's just called diversifying. You're taking money from one investment and you're putting it into another one. So when you take that money and use it to purchase a home, the money is not gone. It's not lost. It's just sitting in your house. Right? So and yeah, there it may come with some penalties. It may not. It just depends on, the type that you have, the servicer and all that, and that sort of thing. And right now, since COVID, I mean, a lot of people have been able to pull from their 401ks without any penalty. So, and then you could take a loan out on your from your 401k, and again use those funds. You just borrowing money from yourself at a lower interest rate. So, and then you're paying yourself back. And so that's one resource that you could use. Another would be a gift. You can receive a gift from, a family member. It just that whatever that gift amount is, it would have had to been in that donor's account for at least 30 days. So in other words, the funds have to be sourced. The lender will have to know where those funds came from. So if a mom, a dad, sister, brother, cousin, uncle, whatever, if they decide to gift you some funds, they will have to be willing to give their bank statement to the lender to show that those funds were, like I said, already in their account. Now, um, and we could talk about some other stuff offline as it relates to gifts and, that sort of thing, as far as, how to get it into your account and, that sort of thing. But yes, that is another source that you can use to find your down payments.
I love it. So, guys, you are hearing much information that you probably did not know. And, now that you have this type of awareness, we want you to continue to move on it. So, I have a question. I know you mentioned in your introduction that when you purchased your first home, you were 26.
Mm-hmm.
So, thinking about when you purchased your first home at 26 and a millennial today at
Mm-hmm.
26 who is looking to purchase a home, what is some of the things that, like, in thought process, mindset wise, that person would need to think about in order to be a successful homeowner?
First off, just get out of your own way
Mm.
and stop all of the research.
Our millennials love to research.
Because what's happening is a
Yeah.
lot of the research that you do doesn't even apply to you,
Mm.
but you make it apply to you. And then you make your partners, your team, meaning your lenders, your realtor that's partnering with you in this process, you make them crazy because you're saying, well, what about this? I did some research and I saw this, and you gotta let the professional be the professional,
Mm.
right? Because, like I said, a lot of the research, it doesn't apply. Right? And so I can remember when my husband and I were buying our first home, we went out and we found a realtor, and she referred us to a lender. And we didn't keep this realtor though. We went to a second realtor. We actually hired him and went to a second one. But the realtor, the only reason why she didn't work out for us was because everything we told her we wanted, she showed us the opposite. I don't know. I hear that happen sometimes today too. I don't know. But
Okay.
um but we were still open to listening to what they had to say in terms of the process, and and what was the best thing for us, um especially with the money that we had. We listened, and that's what you all have to do as well. I mean, it doesn't matter who it is, just listen to the professional. And because you don't know what you don't know, right? So that was one of the biggest things that I can say that it's probably a little bit different with me buying 20 something 25 years ago for the first time, and now, you know,
Mhm.
it's just being okay with just listening.
Mhm.
Because what I find is a lot of times, people just don't want to listen. They want to tell you, they want your help, but then they want to tell you how to help them.
Mm.
And that's just not a good look.
I love it.
So that's one of the biggest things that I would say, um is a is a difference. we listened. We did listen. We didn't, we didn't some of the things we didn't like I said, we said we wanted one thing and we were being shown something else. And then when we got another realtor, I mean, she was the best. I mean, she
Mhm.
listened and she showed us exactly what we wanted. We ended up getting a new construction, but we still needed her help. She still helped us throughout the entire process. And that's another thing with new construction. You still need that agent representation, even if you say, oh, I can find my own house, because you're doing your research, you
Mhm.
know and you're saying, you're calling these people and you're saying, hey, what's going on with this property? Well, they don't work for you. They have those on-site agents in the new construction communities. They work for the seller. They don't work for you. So they have the seller's best interest. So of course, if the seller is going to have representation, then it might be a smart move for you to have representation.
Mhm.
Okay, so just listen and be open to what the expert that you've hired is trying to tell you.
I love it. I love it. And
Mhm.
we know millennials, they're in the digital age. Everything can be answered by Google, right?
Yeah,
So having being coachable and being open to the process and understand it is a process, but it's a doable process. And that's
absolutely.
what you guys are learning here from our expert tonight, that home ownership is doable and you can
It
do
is.
it even at your young age. It's not something that you
Mhm.
have to put off until you feel that you're older, or
Mhm.
Alex says you're dropping nuggets. Yes, she is. I love it. I love it. So in our final moments, this has been great. I guys, I love bringing people on that's going to give you the truth. And
Right.
again, I love LaShana, and I've known her personally and just know her heart and just her desire to help people and help people get in homes and break those generational curses.
Yes.
Um, where we can see generational wealth being brought in home ownership, and that's just an amazing mission that you have. So in our final minutes, what advice would you give those millennials out there who are just thinking about buying a home? Just one final words of from you to them.
Just do it. I mean, it's no different than anything else.
Mhm.
Just take the first step. Once you listen, if you take one, you could take two, and you could take three. You just got to take the first step. And it is, I promise you, it is not as hard as you think it is. And it's just like anything else. Whatever you focus on expands. So just get with someone. Hopefully that's me.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, just get with someone. I don't care who it is. Get with someone that really cares about what cares about their job, cares about people, and seeing them succeed. And just go all in. But just be open to listening. Just listen so that you'll have a better understanding of what you're doing and how you're going to get to that next level. And I definitely pride myself on, the education piece, because I definitely want everyone that goes through this process to know, why am I doing, why do I have to do it like this?
Mhm.
And what does this mean as I go? What does this mean? And what does this mean as I go through the process? Because here's the thing, I believe that if I tell you why you're doing it, you'll do it. You'll be more apt to do it, right? It's almost like playing basketball. If you got a coach, and I've never played basketball, yeah, I'm too prissy for basketball, but I raised two athletes, right? So that's just like if coach tells you to go do this, get out on the court and do this. But if they don't tell you why you're doing it, it doesn't make that much sense. You're doing it just because they said do it. But if they tell you the science behind why you're doing it, you're more apt to do it. So, and that's me. I'm going to tell you what you need to do every step of the way, and not only what you need to do, but why you need to do it and how to do it all at the same time. So that when you get to the closing table, you won't be like I was at 26 and my husband was 23. You won't be like we were when we got to the closing table and not know how we got there. Okay. All we know is we paid a couple of dollars of earnest money, and that was it. We were at the table and we felt like we signed our lives away. But we had our keys and we had our new son. So again, I say to you guys, it's easier than you think. I promise you, it's just about the team that you put together to walk this the journey with you.
Awesome. Well, I thank you, LaShana, for your time and for coming on and sharing your passion, sharing your knowledge with us and with our audience, our millennials out there who are truly wanting to adult in their purpose and truly be productive adults
Right.
in the world, right?
Right.
So we thank you because I'm sure there's something that was heard today that you didn't know that gave you the aha moment that give you now the opportunity to say to think maybe I can do this.
Mhm.
So let everybody know where they can find you. Are you on social media or your website? And then also, when is your next virtual home buying seminar?
The next seminar is I do believe it's the 17th of November. But you can go to Eventbrite and find it there. And that is Home Buyer Solutions with an S with Shana .eventbrite.com. You can go there and they'll be listed. The seminars will be listed there, and you can register at that site. And I am on social media, Paradigm Realty ATL on Instagram and Paradigm Realty on Facebook, as well as my personal on Facebook is LaShana Smith Middleton, and that is LaShana Smith Middleton. It's not hyphenated. And you can go there and see, you could go to my personal page and see my entire life story. You'll be able to figure out everything. You'll see all my closings, everything. Is there all I always tell a story as far as, you know, the story behind the closing. So I'm sure, you could probably find yourself in some of these stories. But so again, LaShana Smith Middleton on Facebook, as well as Paradigm Realty on Facebook, Paradigm Realty ATL on Instagram. The website is there, the Paradigm Regroup.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. And I found the link. It says November 14th,
Okay,
isn't
14.
it? Okay.
Okay.
So you guys have the link in the comment section for the next home buyer seminar. The link is there. So be sure that you register, follow Shauna on all her social media, check out um, her website. Alex says she got it. So you got one person that's in there. She gonna be in there.
Good.
And so for those that are listening to the replay, definitely if you're interested in getting the knowledge, um, you want somebody that you would know, like, and trust. I can vouch for her. That's my heart. And I love Shauna to death. But just as a woman, as a boss, doing her thing, living her life, and truly adulting in her purpose. So
Mhm.
we're gonna close out on the final question of the evening, and this is something that I ask all guests.
Okay.
Um, and it says, what does adulting in my purpose mean to you?
Well, adulting in my purpose, as far as me personally, or as far as um your platform?
As
Because
far as you personally.
adulting in my purpose is taking over yourself, being
Mm,
responsible for you and um what God has created you to be.
mm,
Honing in on that and just walking in it. Um and and don't let it take you forever to figure out what your purpose is,
mm,
right? And so, and like I said, just hone in on it, and to be an adult about it is, again, walking in it, being true to it, never swaying from it, and that's a true boss.
I love it. I
That's
love
a
it.
true boss, being just who you are and what God created you to be.
I love it. I love it. Well,
Mhm.
you guys, we had a great time. I pray that something that was said will help you in your journey as you are out there figuring out life and truly trying to understand how you can adult in your purpose. So, again, for those that are desiring home ownership, make sure you sign up for Shauna's next home buyer seminar on November 14th. The link is in the comments. And so, thank you, Shauna, so much again for coming
Thank
on and
you.
sharing your knowledge. We appreciate you so much, so much, so much.
You are more than welcome. It's been a joy and a pleasure. And I'm gonna give them something that I probably wouldn't have done if it wasn't for you, Doc. I'm gonna give them my personal cell number.
Okay, y'all.
They can
Look at
reach me because I have two millennials that I birthed.
mm,
So, I understand. Now I'm gonna give them my personal number, and when I get in mama mode on them,
okay. And she will. She will.
don't be mad, but it's gonna all be in love.
Yeah.
And so I want to go ahead and give you guys my personal number so you can, since you like to text, you can text me.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can text me if there are any questions you may have, any concerns. Um, I want you to feel free to reach out to me. And if I don't know, I'll get you the answers, but I'm probably gonna know. But if not, I'll get you the answer and point you in the right direction. And so that number is 678-906-1109.
All
Again,
right, guys.
678-906-1109.
Awesome. You guys, that right there shows you the heart, that shows you the passion, that shows you the desire to help. And you don't come around people like that often. So take advantage of it. When opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. So step out, and this is the opportunity for you guys. But again, Shauna, thank you so much again for your time. Thank you for coming on. We greatly appreciate you and all the things that you do out for the community and just to help people as well.
Thank you so much for having me, Doc.
Awesome. All right, guys. So that is it for adulting in my purpose. I'm always excited. I hate to leave y'all, but we'll be back next week, 8:30 next Wednesday, Eastern Standard Time, for another Millennial Making Move. We're gonna have Taylor Lewis on. She's a senior at Howard, majoring in political science, and she has her own business called Brown Girls Guidance. And we're gonna hear all about her and all that she is doing in her community and how she is adulting in her purpose. So stay tuned, and we'll be back here next Wednesday, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, for another session of Adulting in My Purpose. You all stay blessed and stay safe.